Hello and welcome to the Today's Homeowner Weekly podcast. We're here to help you with the challenges we all face as homeowners. I'm Danny Lipford.
And I'm Joe Truini. And each week, Danny and I are here on the podcast to answer any and all home improvement questions.
And we want to hear from you. Send us your questions or comments at todayshomeowner.com/podcast.
Okay, Danny, let's get started.
Today's Homeowner podcast is brought to you by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. This week we talk with a homeowner about her brick patio. Now, brick patios are low maintenance, not no maintenance. She has a little bit of trouble with some of the sand that seems to be washing away. Now, that's pretty minor compared to bricks that are starting to shift or settling here and there, which we hear about quite a bit. But we offer up a couple solutions for her and a unique recycling idea that she suggested. So we kind of put all of that together, and I think we worked out a pretty good solution.
You're right, Danny. We talk about no maintenance versus low maintenance all the time, and there really is no such thing as a no maintenance product, but bricks are pretty close to as low maintenance as you can get. So we have some good ideas for her taking care of that brick patio. And we also have a homeowner who has a question about replacing some old fiberboard siding, hardboard siding, with fiber cement. So we're going to give her some good ideas on how to get that fiber cement up on the house and have it last forever.
Now, we also talk all the time about the importance of proper ventilation in your home, especially in a bathroom situation where you're getting that hot, moist air, not just into the attic, but all the way to the outside. Well, we have a homeowner that's really been listening, but great question. Can you combine the venting from two bathrooms into one to where you only have one penetration through the roof? We'll tell him how he can do that and be very successful.
And if you've used toggle bolts to mount things to a hollow wall and have trouble with it, I've got a simple solution on an improved toggle bolt that you can try next time.
We admit it can be a bit of a challenge to maintain your home, improve your home, keep it looking like you want it to look. The real secret is take it a little at a time. Don't let things get too out of hand there. And I just want to make sure you do the few maintenance things. And so often when you have these things on a list, you go, I don't feel like doing this kind of thing. If you'll just do one, just get out there and do just one thing, suddenly you leads to another, and you go, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm on a roll here. And the next thing you know, after a couple hours, you've gotten so many things done. You feel accomplished, and you feel like maybe you're just the smartest homeowner on the block. All of that is good, and all of that helps, keep things looking a little bit better around your home, and certainly protecting what might be the biggest investment that you have. So that's what we do here. We try to encourage you, we try to help you, and provide you the information you need to keep things looking great. We're going to try to do that right now in Texas. Cynthia's on with us.
Well, thank you, Danny, and that's really good advice.
Well, good. Sometimes we need a little pat on the back, a little boost, a little encouragement, because there are things to be having to be done around the house. So, what about you? What are you faced with out there in Texas?
My house was built in 1980, and there was poor quality siding that was used. And over the years, I managed to have a new door put in the back of my house, and they replaced that with hardboard. And it's wonderful, and I love it, and I really want to finish the rest of the house. And I've been looking around for a reputable company, and I've been listening to this radio station, and they talk about a company called New Spray that originally they did sort of a radiant barrier coating for a house to help it, but now they're saying that they will come in and replace all the masonite with hardy trim and hardy board, and then coat it with the new spray. Do you know anything about the company? Do you know if they're reputable, or is that a good course of action?
Well, I really am not familiar with that particular one. I'll see if Joe is, but there's a lot of companies out there that offer a kind of a ceramic type spray and that type of thing, and the reviews are mixed on it in many ways. I mean, first of all, to replace the brand name masonite siding, which is a hardboard siding that's had a lot of trouble over the years with a hardy board, which again, it's a brand name for the fiber cement category, is the right way to go. We've done hundreds of jobs where we've done that very thing. And if the hardy board is installed right, it will certainly last a long, long time. But let me ask you this. Are you replacing bits and pieces, or are you replacing the whole exterior of the home?
Most of my exterior is brick, but there is some siding. The whole back of the house was siding, and then I have sort of an atrium entrance, and that is siding, and then 2 gables.
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's it. It's not a big job, but then again, the soffits, the squirrels, I can't keep up with the squirrels. They keep chewing through, and I keep patching it, and they find a way to get through. So that definitely is also what I want to do.
Yeah, they can be very aggravating and all, but they don't like chewing on that fiber cement very much. So you might be making a good step from that standpoint. I'll tell you the truth, Cynthia. I don't really think you need any kind of special coating on that. I'll tell you the fiber cement siding holds paint so well. Acrylic latex paint. You just want to make sure it's clean. Caulk it properly, put 2 coats of good quality exterior acrylic latex, and I'll tell you what, you may get 10 or 12 years out of that paint job before you have to do anything. Now, if you had a problematic house and it was wood and you were painting it every 3 or 4 years, then some type of coating may be something to consider. But, Joe, what do you think in terms of any type of coating company like that?
If you're putting up fiber cement, there's no reason to put anything else on it. It holds paint really well. It's impervious to almost anything as far as the weather goes. New Spray puts on a product called Tex Coat, and it's originally was used on roofs, patio covers, around windows, even things like that. But I'm not sure. I've never heard of it applied to siding. Apparently, they are doing that now. But I think with the fiber cement siding, you wouldn't need anything else. And you had mentioned squirrels eating their way through the soffit. Well, James Hardie has a product called Hardie Soffit. And it's specific panels made for soffit. So if you put that up, that would keep the squirrels out as well. That's
my intent, and they're 12 foot. I've been doing research on it. They're 12-foot lengths, so they're made to go from rafter to rafter. So it's once you get the dead man or something, get it up there. It's easy. You don't do a lot of trimming except at the corners. So it has a complete constant, row of holes through, so you don't have to worry about ventilation, and it's wonderful. I'm just trying to find somebody who can put it up, because the man who started the job, he had a stroke. He goes to my church, and he had a stroke, and he can't finish it. So I don't want to just go blindly out there and get taken advantage of.
Well, a couple things.
Whoever you hire, make sure they have experience putting up fiber cement siding, because you don't want anybody learning how to put it up on your home.
No.
And a couple things you could do is to go to the main supplier there of the fiber cement siding in your area and ask them. Ask them who's a couple people that they would recommend. They'll generally recommend someone, of course, that does a lot of business with them. And, of course, you can also call the Home Builders Association and ask them for some remodeling contractors, because all remodeling contractors,
those are good ideas.
Yeah. I mean, not the new home builders, because they're not going to work with any repairs, but they always have a great list of qualified remodeling contractors, and I guarantee you, if they've been in business for any time at all, they've worked with some of the hardboard siding and replacing it with fiber cement. So hopefully that'll point you in the right direction.
Okay, I really appreciate it, and I love your show.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Cynthia. We appreciate it. You have a great weekend. Thank you.
Good luck.
You too.
Right now, we're going to go to Pennsylvania and talk to Harriet. Harriet, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I do have a question, a little bit of a dilemma. So if you want me to go into it, I will.
We would certainly want to hear all about it.
Okay. I think you can hear my dog in the background,
That's okay.
Too.
We love dogs here.
I've only had him for about 2 weeks, so he's a Pekingese.
And
he's cute.
But anyway, they'll bark a little bit from time to time.
when you don't want them to. I have 2 patios. My house is I bought this about 25 years ago, and I had 2 beautifully brick patios put in that are on opposite sides of the house, and brick walkways and so forth. And of course, they were done quite well, laid in sand. And sand in between the bricks. But after 25 years and a lot of power washing and, little neglect on my part, I'm looking to resand everything, which I've done occasionally, but not enough. So now I had the option. A friend of mine had fine stone dust, which she was able to get from somebody who used it as foundations for memorials and cemeteries. Mm-hmm. And I began to look online to see, would this be better than sand? And I came up with, varying opinions. So I'm looking for some real good help on this because my bricks are not cracked. A few of them are here and there, chipped and cracked, but not anything that, you'd say had weathered very badly. Mm-hmm. So I don't want to do anything that's going to, perhaps cause a problem in the future.
Okay. Well, the only thing I'd be concerned with is, the real fine dust that you're mentioning seems as if it would wash away at some time, too. I'll see what Joe says about that. But, one of the products that have been developed over the last few years to address this kind of thing is the polymeric sand. Are you familiar with that?
Well, yes, somebody had told me about that, and I was looking. I thought, well, this sand, this dust that this person has, if I could take it off her hands, she would be very, pleased if I could do that. But the polymeric, is that expensive? I didn't really look into the expense of it.
No, it's not.
It's not that much more.
It goes a long
not that much more
way
than play
too.
Sand.
Yeah,
and it goes a long way. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was thinking the same thing, Harriet. That if you're going to redo this, and first of all, you can try it. And get one bag and try it and put it in. The polymeric sand, has additives in it. It's a very fine grain sand. It has additives, which are polymers. And when it gets wet, it kind of binds everything together. It's almost like a glue, for lack of a better word. It binds it together, so it's much less likely to come out. Now, but polymeric sand needs to be a certain thickness as far as width of the joint. How wide are the joints between the brick that you have now?
Yeah, on the patios themselves, it's probably about a quarter of an inch.
Okay.
In some places, it's a little bit more where, the walkways where you've got ground on either side and they've kind of shifted a little bit more. But
typically
I would say,
polymeric sand's good for up to about a quarter of an inch. You can check the directions on the bag, so you'll probably be okay. And it might be able to handle a slightly wider joint as well, but I think quarter inch is approximately what they recommend.
Okay.
But before you put it down, I'd recommend scratching out between the bricks with a slotted screwdriver or putty knife or something like that to get everything out, as much of the old sand and dirt and weeds or whatever. And then, maybe go over it with a vacuum, with a wet, dry vac, and suck out all the loose debris, and then pack in then sweep in the sand, and then you want to mist it with water because it's the water that binds it together.
Binds it. Okay. Well, that sounds pretty good then. So I could go either way, depending on the result that I want. Like you said, the fine dust possibly would not last. Right.
And it's possible you could even mix that together. That might be an idea to think about. That way you're making your friend happy, and you're able to utilize that. You're going to be using a little bit less polymeric sand, but you might be able to just mix that up together, and then you just put it out over the whole area. Just brush it in a 45-degree angle to force it into the cracks, and like Joe said, a little bit of misting on it, and stay off of it a little while, and you might have just the secret there.
All right, well, that would be good. I think that probably would be the way that I would go, because then I would have a little bit of the binding, and possibly see what the future might bring as far as what else I would have to do if, in fact, it will need more sand to come in, because once you power wash, that sand really flies out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good. Well, hope this will help you a little bit, Harriet. Thanks so much for being a part of the show this week.
Thank you
Good
very
luck with
much.
the dog.
I appreciate it. Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, right now it's time for our Best New Product segment brought to you by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. When you're in a pinch, it's important to have a perfect tool at your disposal, not just for around the house, but also when you're on the move. Whether you're dealing with a dead battery or a flat tire, the DeWalt 2800 peak amp jump starter 1000 watt power inverter with digital compression can get you out of that jam. It's great for not only the home enthusiast, but the car enthusiast as well, as it's a portable power source and air compressor all in one. This versatile unit is packed with features like a built-in alternator tester, reverse polarity alarm, dual bright LED work lights, and a PSI cutoff as well. DeWalt designed it with a tough polymer construction, ideal for extreme conditions. For more information on the DeWalt 2800 peak amp jump start 1000 watt power inverter with digital compression, log on to HomeDepot.com. That's another great thing to...
I got to get one of those.
Yeah, like a great gift and great something to have in the car and or in the shop. A little bit of everything. Right now we're going to join up with Harold, who is in Illinois, with a bathroom question. Harold, welcome to the show.
Good morning. I'm having a moisture issue in the attic. I'll start off by saying the house was built in 78. It's trussed on 2-foot center with an OSB roof decking. Mm-hmm. And I'm wanting to know, we have 2 bathrooms. They are back-to-back. The vents are probably separated by 6 to 7 feet. And on an outside wall to the small bathroom, which is 5 foot wide. The question I have is, can I vent both exhaust fans through one roof vent?
Okay.
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a good question, and one that's very common. A lot of people, have situations like that. First of all, exhaust fans are extremely important in the bathrooms like that to move that hot, moist air, not in the attic, but all the way to the outside, so you're going the right path there. They're also going to work best when they have the shortest path of escape. So if putting these two together will allow the fastest path to escape your attic, then certainly no problem at all. There's I would call it a yoke, a 2-in-1 diverter adapter that'll allow you to tie in your ductwork, your venting from the 2 exhaust fans into this yoke or adapter and then convert to one so that you're only making one cut or penetration in your roof. And nothing wrong with it at all. It's going to work just fine. You're not going to have backlash from one to the other. And it's a very common practice. So that's the main thing. You want to make sure you get it out of there as quick as you can.
Okay, my roof is a 412 pitch, so the one that's close to the wall is going to be about less than 2 foot to hit the roof, and the other one's going to be maybe 2 foot. It's going to be tight quarters getting in there.
Yeah, it sounds like it, especially if you got the insulation and that kind of thing. But boy, it sounds like the right way to go. And with that short run, you're going to get great use out of that. Now, have you already got your exhaust fans?
Yes, and I don't know. I haven't been up there to check to see what kind of connection is in it, and I don't know if it's going to have to be replaced or not.
Okay.
Because I'm not sure how this vent is, if it's common to use a flexible hose, like when you would think of a dryer vent sometimes hose.
Yeah, well, that's fairly common to use that. I always like to use a smooth pipe whenever possible. It just, I don't know, psychologically it seems like the air would flow a little better than one that's got any type of ripples or corrugation on it. But either way, with that short of a run, you're going to be in great shape with it.
Okay, next question is, what kind of issues do you have when you go in there and you're in the wintertime and you get this warm air going up into that pipe and you get condensation? Do you get rain in the bathroom over?
Well, no, you shouldn't get rain down there, but you can insulate the pipe, to keep that moist air moist so it flows out instead of condensating and then dripping down. I mean, there have been cases, and extreme cases, where the humidity is super high, that condensation can form water droplets and come back down. But ordinarily, that's not an issue. And having a 4-pitch roof, which is relatively shallow, I can understand the challenge of getting in there. You're going to have very little headroom. But the shorter the run, as Danny said, the better. And it's a good process because the fewer holes you have to poke in your roof, the better. So if you can hook up to one, that would definitely be the way to go.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate your help.
Okay, our pleasure, Harold.
You're welcome.
Best of luck on your project.
This time of year, Danny, I suspect a lot of people are outdoors working on the outside of their house and their property or their lawn, the hardscapes, the patios and decks and retaining walls, driveways, that kind of thing. But regardless of what project you're working on and what question you might have, get in touch with us. We'll see if we can help you out today.
That's right. We want to help you any way we can, and that number to call is 800-946-4420. And a lot of times people want to know the answer. They're not able to be with us. So let's see how many of these questions we can help out on.
Yeah, hi, Danny. I subscribe to your podcast. I love it. I watch your show. My question and situation is I've lived in the same house for 45 years. I have a small bathroom, and I have a shower that leads us downstairs. Recently developed some sciatica back problems. I would really like to add one of these walk-in tub shower jacuzzis. I'm worried about moisture. I don't know if I can properly vent it out to take care of it. When I do this, I want to I'd like to redo my bathroom totally. It really needs it. It's back in the 70s. So really love your show. My name is Gene Otto.
All right, Gene. We'll certainly appreciate your call and leaving that message for us on the Today's Homeowner Hotline. I'll tell you what, the situation you're dealing with is one that millions of Americans are dealing with right now. So as a result of that, there's a lot of companies out there, a lot of remodeling contractors that somewhat specialize in bathroom renovations like this. What I would do is call your local home builders association. I would ask for their remodelers council list. Then I would go down those remodelers and give them a call and say, have you done a lot of the walk-in whirlpool type tubs? They're very popular. There's a lot of different options out there. A lot of the big companies are starting to produce various models that are great for retrofit situations so that you don't have to tear out all of the door and that kind of thing, which is an important aspect of it, especially when it comes to the budget. So that's what I would do. I would call a remodeling contractor, but make sure you mention those specifics as far as have you done this type of work before. Get 2 or 3 guys out there, talk with them, see who you're comfortable with, get the pricing tied down, get everything in writing, and then move forward with it. You'll have to make a few selections here and there on your flooring and a few other things, paint colors and shower valves, that kind of thing, but it'll be worth it, and also it'll certainly add a lot of value to your home. Let's go to the next question.
I have a toilet, and sometimes I flush it and all the water goes out of the bowl. Other times I flush and all the water doesn't go out of the bowl, and I can't figure out what's going on. So if you could please help out, I would appreciate it.
Yes, that does sound like it's a little confusing because either you think a toilet would either flush or not flush, but it sounds to me when that happened is typically because something's stuck in the trap or further down in the drain pipe, but it's only partially blocking the flow of water. Right. So sometimes, and if it's moving a little bit, it might block it more than others, but ordinarily it's just partially blocking it. So sometimes, depending on what's going down the toilet, it'll plug it up for a while, then water will slowly leak through. So I would get, there's a tool called a closet auger, and it's specifically made for cleaning out toilets. You can get them pretty affordably, and you can rent one as well. Just run it down there and see if you can clean that out and maybe pull out anything that's obstructing it. Also, take the lid off the toilet and flush it a couple times and just watch the mechanism. And make sure something's not getting hung up there. Make sure everything there is working fine. But I suspect it's a partial block. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Yes, I have black spots all over my knockout roof. It rained here for like 3 days, and then it ended up with all these black spots. And I was wondering what I should use to clear that up.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm not real sure because, you have such a fragile thing when you have a plant like that. But I'll tell you what, one of the most popular home and garden articles that we put on Today's Homeowner a few years ago was about knockout roses. And there's quite an exchange of information there back and forth. Now, I mean, there's hundreds of comments on that particular one, but I think that's what I would do. Go to todayshomeowner.com, put in knockout roses in the internal search engine there, and I guarantee you someone else has had that same problem and give you, because it's an extremely popular plan and a beautiful one as well, but I think that would be the best bet in finding out what others have done in order to solve that problem with the black spots.
We had a concrete patio poured. The gentleman that did it poured it during a rain downpour. He used a blue tarp as a water barrier, and now we have all kinds of wet spots in the concrete. And I was wondering, to make it look better, can we pour or place a porcelain tile floor? And does the concrete have to be absolutely dry, or I was reading your article, would the Red Guard take care of any moisture that was between the concrete and the tile? Thank you.
Well, there are a couple of questions there. And first of all, yes, you can put porcelain tile over an outdoor concrete patio. In fact, that's the tile I'd recommend. Make sure you use a thin set mortar that's designed for use outdoors. But it should be dry. The slab should be as dry as it could possibly get before you start laying anything on top of it. And prior to that, yes, you could put down Red Guard. It's from a custom building products, a company we mention here all the time. They make a great line of products. It's an elastomeric waterproofing membrane. You can roll it on, brush it on. It can be used indoors or out, so it's perfectly safe to use outside. And then you can, once that's cured, you can, and I would recommend 2 coats. After that, then you can set your tile. Yeah, so there's absolutely no reason you can't set tile on a concrete patio, but it must be dry. Okay, I think we have time for one more question.
Hi, I was wondering what to do about a downspout drain, if water keeps flowing over the top.
Okay. Well, a couple things there. A lot of times you'll have gutters and you'll have a downspout, and the actual shingles or whatever roofing you have may overhang a little bit more than they normally would. And when you have a heavy downpour, it basically skips over the gutter and the downspout. Now, it could also be that the downspout is undersized, because you think about all that water that's in a gutter trying to force its way down a small downspout. So upgrading and upsizing your existing downspout, it's not a very tough project at all. A lot of times you have to put a new outlet in the bottom of the gutter, but it's just aluminum, and normally it's aluminum, and fairly easy to cut that out to create that larger avenue for that water to escape. But more often than not, it's just got some obstruction in it where the leaves, because people will clean the gutters and the gutters look great and they forget the downspouts. Well, that's only part of the project there. You got to clean those downspouts out, and often you'll find that it's impacted in some way. The easiest way to solve that problem is to either use a plumber's auger that Joe mentioned earlier to grind it out, or most of the time you can just put your water hose with the water turned on wide open and push it right down in that in order to flush it all out. Now, sometimes it also can get clogged at the very bottom where it doesn't have a proper splash block to move that water away from it. And if you get any kind of debris or mud or anything at the end of it, it could actually restrict it enough that it would overflow. So need to check that out very carefully. And next time it's clean it all out. Next time it's raining, grab that umbrella and head out in the rain and watch how that water comes off the roof. It may show you exactly what needs to be done. Well, we always try to promise you that we're going to provide you some information or some tips that you can use right now at your house. And this might be a good example of it right here with this week's Simple Solution.
Okay, Danny, you know that toggle bolts have been used for generations as a way to fasten things to a hollow wall. And they work great, but they have a couple of limitations. So I wanted to share a simple solution on if you're considering using a toggle bolt, use a strap toggle instead. This is a newer version of a toggle bolt, and it's superior to a traditional toggle bolt in 2 important ways. First, the shaft of the machine screw that goes into the toggle fits very snugly in the hole, so you don't have a lot of slop, meaning a lot of play where the bolt can move after you, no matter how much you tighten it, sometimes it'll still move with a traditional toggle. And the second point is the strap locks the toggle to the back of the wall. You know, with a traditional toggle, if you take the screw out and go to put it back in, you can't because the toggle then falls down inside the wall. So with a strap toggle, that's what the strap does. It holds it tight to the back of the wall. So you can take the screw out and put it in as many times as you want and not have to worry about replacing the toggle part of the toggle screw. So there you go. Next time you use a toggle bolt, go to the hardware store and find something called a strap toggle.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I'll tell you what, that's something that a lot of people are looking at. And I'll tell you, people get so frustrated in trying to hang things on certain areas of their home. You know, it's always good when you're doing a little renovation to
especially hollow walls.
Yeah, it's always good if you can anticipate that ahead of time, doing any renovation. Like Chelsea just finished out her little master bathroom addition and really thought through all of the blocking that needed for the toilet paper holder, the towel rod, even her closet rods and so forth, so that she didn't have to use any hollow wall anchors, that she could go straight into the stud, knew exactly where it was. Actually even took a little photo of the exposed wall before the drywall went up, so she knew exactly where it was. So she was listening all those years when I shared all that advice to her. So
yeah, the kids do listen. You don't think they're listening, but they're listening.
And we've had lots and lots of emails, and we appreciate those. You're so sweet to ask about Chelsea and her new baby. They're doing great. Little Lucy Ann was born on May 10th, and Chelsea's taking it easy for a little while, and she'll be back on the television show for our season number 22 that we'll be starting to tape very, very soon, and we'll be headed to... we're going up to, Knoxville, Tennessee in a week or two to tape the final show of the season, our Backyard Paradise winner. And so we're looking forward to sharing that with you on a show coming up real soon. And now it's time for our podcast question of the week. And you can certainly send us a question anytime by going to todayshomeowner.com/podcast. This comes from Otis in Alabama. Dear Mr. Lipford, I appreciate that. I am installing a Dreamline Neo-Angle shower base, and what type of mortar should I use in order to install it? Also, will 30-pound roofing felt work on my wood floor under the shower base? My plumbing is already in. Thank you for any ideas, and thank you for your help you've given me on your podcast and Today's Homeowner. Well, Joe, with it being a fixed pan like that, I know it's still good to have a mortar base so that it sits, in case you have any imperfections in the floor. Putting the 30-pound felt down first, then the mortar on top, that sounds like a perfect idea.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you wouldn't put down the 30-pound felt. It's not gonna really do anything other than protect the subfloor, the plywood subfloor. And if anybody ever needs to remodel this bathroom, make it a lot easier to get that shower pan out. The Dreamline shower pan is a acrylic fiberglass reinforced one piece. You put it in down. It's waterproof. No tiling, no nothing. So it's a great idea. And the reason you put what's called a bedding material, or in this case the mortar, underneath it, is just to take some of the little bounce out of it. Because sometimes it can be a little spongy, for lack of a better word.
Sure.
So they typically recommend, I've done it in the past with joint compound, but I don't know if they really recommend you do that, although it's held up great in my house. But in any case, so you take a mortar, and you don't want to use like tile mortar, thin set, but Quickcrete makes a product that is perfect for this. It's called sand topping mix.
Yeah, that's
Sounds like it's all sand, but it's not. It's a mixture of Portland cement and really fine grade sand. But anyway, you just mix that up with water, put it down. Don't mix it too wet. That's a mistake a lot of people make. Don't mix it like you're using it for mortar. You want it a little stiffer, and then you just put your pan on top of it. You squish it down to your level lines and just leave it. And once that mortar hardens, then it's going to be like standing on a concrete base. There won't be any give in that pan. And you want to make sure there's no give in that pan, meaning the shower pan, because any flex could, maybe cause a little water to leak in or disconnect the drain pipe. So that's the reason for the mortar underneath that.
Yeah, a lot of those molded pans like that have little ribs under it that they structure those ribs in those in order to, make it more stout, more stronger. So that'll definitely strengthen that up. Well, another great podcast question. Again, we encourage you to send us one at any time at todayshomeowner.com/podcast. We'd also encourage you to write us a favorable review. I know that's kind of kind of awkward asking for a favorable review, but that's how podcasts work. That way we can reach more people with what we share each and every week. And we certainly appreciate you spending some time with us on this Today's Homeowner Podcast. I'm Danny Lipford, along with my co-host Joe Truini. We'll see you real soon.